Hey, what's going on, American truckers? Welcome to Trucking with OleSnapper, and I am your host, OleSnapper. Please bear with me. Truck is idling, needs to idle to charge the battery up because I've been sitting a little while. So I'm using my headset. I don't particularly care in using my headset in these videos because it picks up my breath, and a lot of times whenever I come in and hang out with y'all in the premieres, I can hear my breath in the background, and it sounds kind of creepy to me. I don't like it. But anyway, as some of y'all know, I've gone over to Poly Trucking. So I'm going to talk about the bad and the good from my time here at Poly, which is fresh, it's still new. Just going to give my perspective. Also, at the end of this video, I'm starting a new thing. One thing is I'm going to be putting in a quote, one of my favorite quotes. I love reading quotes, so I'm going to start adding that to the end of the videos. They help me a lot. Maybe it'll help some of you out there. Another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select comments, and they're just comments that stand out to me. If it stands out to me, I'm gonna select two or three of them. Every time I do a video, gonna put them at the end, and we'll talk about them or discuss them or laugh with them or however the comment goes. So you're gonna want to stay tuned. You never know when one of your comments may end up in that portion of the video in upcoming videos, which that'll be starting in this one. As a little disclaimer, excuse me, as a little disclaimer, I do not represent Poly. I'm not a spokesman for Poly. I'm not a recruiter for Poly. I'm simply a driver. Now, later on in this video, I will put up the information needed if you are interested in coming to Poly so you can talk to a recruiter, and that's between y'all. I have nothing to do with it. All right? Just simply going to give my perspective. Now, I'm going to start out with the bad, and then I'm going to give you the good. All right. No trucking company is perfect. Every one of them has their good and their bads. I'm not gonna get on here and feed you the uh the the kicking it on the beach down in Costa Rica version of poly trucking. It's good, but it ain't that good. All right. Let's get into it. All right. One of the least favorite things for some people, and sometimes it's kind of a pain to me, but there's a lot of paperwork. You have to write down your mileage when you cross state lines because they want to keep track of how many miles they're driving in each state, by hand for the taxes. There's a lot of paperwork to fill out. You got to write down all the roads you took and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of paperwork that comes with a trip. And to some people, they're not paperwork people. That's a pain in the butt. If you're not a paperwork person, you're gonna hate Poly. All right, probably Poly's probably not for you if you're not a paperwork person. Um, some another thing that kind of that's on the bad side is the equipment. Now they run internationals, LTs, and they run Peterbilts. Some guys come here and they want a Peterbilt. There's really no difference between the two other than the cab, the sleeper, because the way Poly orders them from the frame in, they're exactly the same. They both run Cummins. They both are the same, exactly the same from the frame in. There's no difference between the International LT and the Peterbilt. Not here at Poly. Now, the equipment does break down a lot. Poly keeps equipment on a fleet a lot longer than most companies. As y'all know, most trucking companies out there, they trade their trucks in every 5 years. Uh, they they get a good price for them and all that kind of stuff, and it helps them keep their fleet up, keep their fleet new. It helps keep DOT off of them, and it also keeps drivers a little happier because their trucks are traded in way before the major breakdown points, right? Well, here at Poly, they keep a truck until it disintegrates. When it is finally decomposed and is just nothing, there's nothing left there on the concrete, that's when that truck is no longer here. It is still here all the way up until that point. They got trucks out there on the yard, man, you could go by and see that are probably antiques. They've been around a really long time. I don't know who runs Poly's deal with their equipment, but they got a little different way of doing it than most trucking companies, With that being said, Poly is not a trucking company. They're a private fleet. They run their own product. Husky trash bags, Husky brand. Um, they run their own product. All right. So they don't operate like a traditional trucking company would. They have factories around the country. They make this product, goes out to the customers that have bought it. Most of them big box stores, and then you know, so it's they decided to buy a few trucks. Kind of helps offset the cost of hiring owner operators to haul all this stuff on the board. But that would probably be a bad thing. Is the equipment is not the best, and you kind of gotta you're gonna have breakdowns. They have loaner trucks you can use, so it's not like if you break down you just stop. You hop in a loaner truck and you keep going. But the loaner trucks are really old, so you're not gonna want to be in a loaner all that long if you don't have to be. Um, but that could be a downfall for a lot of drivers. Some drivers they want to get comfortable in their truck. They don't want to be changing trucks all the time. And here at Poly, until you get in a new truck, you're going to be changing trucks pretty often, more than likely. Um, I, it seems to me that you'd be changing trucks at least once a month. It seems like until you get into a brand new truck. Now, how long you ask might it be before you get into a brand new truck? There ain't no telling. I believe they do it more on seniority, and it may take a few years before you get a high enough seniority to end up in a brand new truck. A lot of drivers that come here don't leave, and later on you'll find out why. But a lot of drivers that come here don't leave. So you got to work your way up in seniority before you reach that point that you can get a brand new truck whenever they buy them. But that takes some time. So the first couple years, travel light. All right. The third thing that I find that is is bad is you got to turn your paperwork in by hand. You can't mail your paperwork. You can't transflow your paperwork. You can't trip pack your paperwork. You can't FedEx it, UPS it, nothing. It has to be turned in at a poly facility by hand. Here's the disadvantage to that. Let's say you don't get back to a poly facility within that week. All right. Well, then you just don't get paid that next week. You have to take that trip and roll it over to your next week. Now, it all comes out in the wash because you're going to have a bigger paycheck on your next week. But if you're the type of driver that gets paid on Friday and you're broke on Monday, you're probably not going to enjoy poly because of that policy, because that's the way it is. And that's the way it is. It's not going to change. Um, so that might be a downfall to some people. Keep that in mind. If you're out there, you're looking at this company, keep that in mind. Um, Something else that's good. Let's get into the good. All right. The pay is awesome. And somewhere right in here, I'm popping up one of my pay stubs or one of my deposits into my account. The pay is freaking good. Orientation, I think, paid 620. It was like 2.5 days long. Um, my first paycheck was a little over 2 grand, and that's what I put in the bank. That's after taxes. That's after everything. That's what I put in the bank was a little over 2 grand. Not bad for a company driver. The benefits here are awesome, really awesome benefits. They even offer Sam's Club memberships, which is great. You know, get a turkey at Christmas time, turkey at Thanksgiving, all that kind of stuff that the corporate world does. It's kind of nice. Um, Here is why I'm here. Probably 60% of the reason of why I'm here. All right. You have the ability to pick your own freight 50% of the time. All right. Excuse me. You have the ability to pick your own freight 50% of the time. Now let me explain. It's Poly. They run their own product out to all their customers, right? So when you're on a Poly facility, you can pick what loads you want. They're going to call you and they're going to say, "Hey John Doe, we got this load available, this load available, this load available, this load available. We got one going to Detroit, we got one going to Rock uh, upstate New York. We got one going out to Salt Lake City. We got one going out to Portland, Oregon. Pick it. You're going to pick the one you want. Okay. No, and then you go inside and get your paperwork. Go get your trailer, pre-trip everything, get on the road. You pick your own outbound freight. Here's why I say you pick your loads 50% of the time. Now, when you get to wherever you're going, let's say you take the load and you go to Portland, Oregon. When you get to Portland, Oregon, now they're going to get you a backhaul to one of the plants, either to Henderson, Nevada, out to Minnesota, back to Grand Prairie, over to Carolina Poly, or down to Houston, Poltex. But so whenever they do that, they're getting on the board. They're getting on a load board. They're going to pull a load. They're going to send that to you, and then that's what you're taking back. Now you can't pick that load. They pick that load for you. So that's why I say it's 50% of the time you pick your own loads. You know, so to me that's awesome. That's freaking amazing. For a company driver, be able to select where I want to go, where I don't want to go, what I want to deal with today, what I don't want to deal with today. To me, that's epic, and that helps me overlook the trucks, you know, things like that. That's what helps me. Like I ain't really worried about it. I get this over here, and I'll sacrifice that over there. My pay's still good, so it's all good. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the way I look at it. All right, now that's my take on poly trucking. Somewhere right in here, and be throwing up the information if you want to contact them, and it's my secret government name on one of these little pictures that are going to be popping up on there. So enjoy the fact that those of y'all that watch this point know my secret government name. Anyway, let's get into some of these comments. Now, they're not all bad, but they were three comments that stood out to me. And from now on, I'm going to be picking two or three comments that stand out to me. We'll be throwing them up in a video uh, and kind of poke fun at them, or make a comment back, a video comment back to them, or just for entertainment purposes only. All right. Now, I don't want everybody going out there and attacking these folks. There's nothing wrong with these folks, man. They just stated their opinion. I'm gonna state mine back. All right, and then we'll get into the quote of this video. Anyway, this first comment. Now, this comment here, this guy commented on my video about Hurricane Express's lease program, and something there caught my eye. And I don't know if y'all are cluing into it yet, but there at the end of the comment, he says, "Not all of us are trying to get rich, or not all drivers are trying to get rich. Look, if you ain't out here to make money, then you're just a homeless dude with a hobby. All right, period. If you're willing to drive a nice truck and sacrifice the money, that is like that's like one of the poorest money management schemes I have ever heard of. That's like money management failure to the max. That is somebody that will end up homeless, living in the Salvation Army when they retire, because that's like totally wrong life decisions. But anyway, I just thought that was funny. Not all of us are out here to get rich. I don't know about y'all, but I'm out here to dang sure try. I may not get rich, but I'm out here to dang sure try. All right, the California lover. That's what I call this next comment. The California lover. California gives more than it receives from the federal government. I don't even want to get started on my thoughts on California. I figured I'd leave this up here for y'all. Y'all can make y'all's comments on California in retrospect to this comment right here. Yes, California has a great economy, all that kind of stuff. But California also is on the verge of going broke. They do have to borrow a lot of money from the federal government. And they have a lot of taxes out there to try to help cover their giveaway programs, because they're not making their own money. Because all that money comes from somewhere. The third and final comment on this deal we're going to get into right here. Don't cuss, thank you. Man, when did we enter this era of people just telling other people what they should or shouldn't do? Now, granted, I try not to cuss a lot on this channel, but it does happen. But when did a grown man think that they could tell another grown man they shouldn't cuss? I mean, I don't know if any of y'all see the silliness in that, but to me, I just found it really silly, really silly, and kind of humorous. But whenever I zoomed in on his picture and I realized he was wearing a mask in the picture, hey, that that C word, it's dangerous when you're taking photos, man. You never know. You might catch it when you're taking photos. You never know. It might come with the flash. But anyway, let's get off into this last part of the video, and this is a quote that I selected. All right, and hopefully y'all enjoy it as much as I do. It's by Anne Frank. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before before starting to improve the world. Again by Anne Frank. In other words, you can start to improve the world by your own actions at any moment. It's all in your choice. You don't have to wait for any particular thing to happen. If you're waiting for something to happen, it's probably never going to happen. It's like that old country song, Sometime Someday Never Comes. Think about that. If you don't know a good person, be one. Anyway, I appreciate all of y'all for stopping by. I appreciate y'all for kicking it with me. Any of y'all that are down there in the premiere on this video, I'm sure I'm down there with y'all. And y'all know I appreciate each and every one of y'all to the fullest. Sorry about the breathing in the phone. I swear I'm not a creeper. Anyway, old snapper, telling you as I always tell you, be good to one another. Take care, stay safe, and I'm out.